Welcome to our movie recap. In this video we take a look at the movie Wonderful Nightmare, released in the year 2015. At the start of the movie, a girl named Yen Wu narrates her disastrous childhood. She reveals that her father died when she was an infant and her mother died shortly after, as she couldn't bear the loss of her husband. This left Yen Wu all alone. But she made a promise to herself that she would never depend on anyone and become a successful person. The following scene transports us to the present, when Yen Wu has fulfilled her vow to succeed as a lawyer. She makes 6 figures a year and is confident enough to take on any challenging cases. The chairman of the affluent company, the HK Group, approaches her one day. It turns out that the man's son just abused a girl, and now, while knowing that the boy is guilty, he wants Yen Wu to defend him. Yen Wu accepts the case since she has been offered a substantial payment. She warns the victim's parents throughout the trial that if they don't back down, she would disparage their daughter. When the parents learn this, they get afraid and decide not to pursue the issue further since they lack the funds to do so. The chairman gives Yen Wu another duty after being pleased with her work. In order to construct some commercial units there, he wants her to remove the slums from a nearby region. Yen Wu is presented with an extravagant BMW and a VVIP Platinum card before he can respond. Yen Wu eagerly accepts the position after hearing this. Yen Wu eventually makes it to her opulent apartment where she lives alone. Here, we learn that she has amassed a fortune as a result of her labor. After some time, she gets into her brand new vehicle and drives to the location where she has stored her parents' memories. On her way back, while she's driving at a high speed, a cat suddenly appears in front of her. She swerves her car dangerously, and as a result it hits the roadside railings. In the next scene, when Yen Wu wakes up, she finds herself in heaven. Confused, she immediately heads to the receptionist and shows her birth card. On checking the records, the receptionist finds out that there's been a mistake. Turns out that Yen Wu was scheduled to die in 2054. She reports the blunder to the director of Heaven, Mr. Kim, and the latter apologizes to Yen Wu for their mistake. He then proposes that Yen Wu live as Kong, a housewife, while he corrects the record. Yen Wu initially objects to being a housewife, but she reluctantly agrees after the director insists that it is the only option for her to return to Earth. Yen Wu then wakes up in an odd apartment that appears to belong to a middle-class family. She stands up quickly, checks herself in the mirror, and then screams when she sees how she looks. When her husband, Sun Huan, hears this, she begins to scream even louder. After some time, Yen Wu notices she is there to take the place of Khan after looking at some photos of her wedding to Sun Huan. To her dismay, she also gets to know that the couple have 2 kids, a teenage daughter Hanul and her younger brother Haru. Just then the little boy approaches Yen Wu and requests that she take him to the bus station so that he can go to school. Although hesitant, Yen Wu obliges and takes her son to the bus station. After leaving him there, she proceeds to return home, but just then Kang's friends approach her. They then forcefully take her to a part-time job, but Yen Wu has no idea on how to work here. It's revealed that Yen Wu's current family is suffering financially. Later the ladies head to a restaurant and start conversing there. They remind Yen Wu about how she was married to Sun Huan at the age of 18. This shocks Yen Wu and she starts feeling uneasy. She immediately heads to the bathroom, and there she encounters Mr. Kim, who warns her not to change Kang's life. Instead, he advises that she settle into her new life as soon as possible. Yen Wu, fed up with everything going on around her, decides to live a luxury life and goes to the grocery store. There, she purchases some pricey food items, but when she goes to pay, her credit card is exhausted. Sun Huan approaches her at night and makes an effort to make out with her, but the latter becomes furious and begins blaming him for marrying a minor and compelling her to bear children. Sun Huan is shocked when she starts speaking like a lawyer at this point. She goes to the living room after the outburst and decides to go to bed by herself. The following day, Yen Wu reaches her old apartment and retrieves the VVIP card that was gifted to her by the HK Group chairman. She then heads to a fancy clothing store and buys expensive clothes for herself. When it's time for the payment, Kang's name appears on the card instead of hers, and even the signatures don't match. As a result, the cashier starts doubting Yen Wu as an imposter, but despite this she lets her go. In the next scene, Sun Huan returns home from work and approaches Yen Wu. He admits that he made a mistake by marrying a minor, but he quickly admits angrily that Yen Wu was the one who coerced him. He then goes into the bedroom and is startled to find the pricey clothing Yen Wu purchased. Enraged, he attempts to confront her about it, but just then, 3 policemen show up and arrest her. Officers accuse Yen Wu of taking the VVIP card at the police station, but her husband defends her and begins outlining different legal provisions like a lawyer. It turns out that he attended the same school as Yen Wu, but had to leave in the middle of his studies owing to financial difficulties. He suspects that his good friend Kong might have slipped her card into his bag after finding out about his financial condition. Meanwhile, the officers are still unconvinced by the theory, but as they have no evidence, they're forced to let them go. Outside, Sun Huan asks his wife if she's having an affair, but the latter denies it. Surprisingly, he believes it and rubs her head before leaving. This surprises Yeonwoo, as no one had ever rubbed her head affectionately like that. Just then Mr. Kim appears out of nowhere and chastises her for nearly ruining a perfectly happy marriage within 48 hours. He issues a final warning, saying that if she doesn't keep things cordial with her family, he'll take her back. Sun Hwan invites Yeonwoo to attend the district office celebration in the following scene. Yeonwoo is initially apprehensive, but immediately agrees after recalling Mr. Kim's words. Later, when Yeonwoo is at the party, she is dressed elegantly, just like she did in her prior life, and Sun Hwan is shocked to see her. The chief district officer is introduced to her shortly after, and the three start chit-chatting. Sensing an opportunity, Sun Hwan begins to explain his idea for constructing a barrier around the subway, but just then, his supervisor Choi interrupts and rejects the proposal. Instead, he suggests renovating the footpath as it would save money. At dinner, Yeonwoo supports her husband and tries convincing the district officer that a barrier wall should be built. She claims that the common people need it urgently, while renovating the footpath would be redundant as it's already in good condition. This enrages Choi, and he meets the couple after dinner. There he makes fun of Sun Hwan for bringing his wife to defend himself. Sun Hwan doesn't respond to it, but when Choi calls his wife, he loses his cool and punches him hard in his face. Following this, the duo head to a bar to clear their minds. Sun Hwan has won too many drinks and gets emotional. He mentions that he can tolerate just about anything but not his wife being insulted. He also mentions that he'll do whatever it takes to keep his family happy regardless of their financial situation. This impresses Yeonwoo, and her opinion of Sun Hwan starts changing. Later at night, the couple returns home and Haru sleeps with Yeonwoo while hugging her tightly. Yeonwoo can't help but reciprocate the hug and does so. The following morning, Hanol approaches her mother and requests some pocket money, saying she needs it for school. Yeonwoo agrees right away, but with one restriction: the little girl must fold all of the shopping bags. When she hears this, Hanol becomes furious and rushes out of the room. But the following day, she returns with the folded bags because she needs the money. Yeonwoo is persuaded by this, and she gives her daughter a sizable sum of pocket money. Hanol finally meets her boyfriend Kyung at his home after several times. While his parents are away, Kyung begins to approach Hanol, but she pulls away as she becomes uneasy. Just then Hanol spots a hidden camera and also finds Kyung's friend recording her. Terrified, she runs away from there, but Kyung pulls her hair and stops her. In the next scene, a devastated Hanol returns home early and slams the door. Yeonwoo is surprised by her daughter's unusual behavior, and when she enters the room to inspect, she's shocked to see bruises on Hanol's face. Worried, she pleads with her daughter about what happened, and Hanol finally reveals everything. This leaves Yeonwoo speechless, but she still manages to console her daughter. Yeonwoo can't help but reciprocate the hug and does so. The following day, Kyung and his attorney are also present, and Yeonwoo brings Hanol to the principal's office. Yeonwoo begins outlining the consequences Kyung will receive using all of her legal skills. However, Kyung's attorney only requests that Yeonwoo accept the settlement and adjudicate the case without even defending Kyung. Yeonwoo immediately runs to the bathroom after hearing this and sobs, remembering all the corrupt cases she handled as a lawyer. Here, we learn that Kyung was the victim of the case that Yeonwoo took on and won at the beginning of the film. Meanwhile, Hanol comes looking for her and suggests they dismiss the case as they don't have the finances to continue with it. However, Yeonwoo is adamant on winning the case, so she grabs her daughter's hand and heads to the principal's room. There, the cunning lawyer again tries to manipulate Yeonwoo by mentioning that Kyung will not be affected by the incident as he will be heading abroad shortly. However, Yeonwoo takes out her mobile phone and reveals that she has recorded everything. She goes on to say that she will file a lawsuit and ruin Kyung's reputation as well as his career. Kyung is incensed by this, and he begins berating Yeonwoo. She quickly knocks him to the ground though, and makes him apologize. Ha-han is simultaneously astonished and proud to see her mother standing up for her. Yeonwoo then begins to take care of all the household duties while still enjoying her time with the children. One day, Mr. Kim comes in front of her out of nowhere and informs her that she would pass away in a week. Yeonwoo begs Kim to spare the mother of the children and keep them together, but Kim replies that he can do nothing about it. In the next scene, while Haru is returning home with his mother after school, he suddenly falls unconscious. The parents immediately rush him to a hospital, and after some tests, the doctor reveals that Haru is suffering from a hereditary disease that is causing eyesight problems. Yeonwoo then remembers her mother having the same symptoms and realizes that Haru inherited it from her. The next day, while a distressed Sun Hwan and Yeonwoo awaited the outcome of their son's procedure, Mr. Kim appeared out of nowhere and dragged Yeonwoo outside. There, he tells her that her death day has come and that she will soon pass away in a car accident. Yeonwoo responds that she wants to say her family a final goodbye before Mr. Kim asks her to get into a car. Mr. Kim initially refuses the request, but as Yan-woo begins pleading, he is forced to give it. Yan-woo goes to the hospital ward where she finds Han-ul as time is running out. She gives her a warm embrace and encourages her to pursue her aspirations. Next, she enters Haru's room with teary eyes and tells him that she will be going far for some time. Hearing this, the little boy also becomes emotional and asks his mother to come back soon. Yan-woo doesn't reply to it and simply walks out. Finally, she meets Sung-won and asks him to take good care of the children. After this, she walks out of the place and fades away. In the next scene, Yan-woo wakes up from her long coma and rushes to the hospital where Haru was admitted. She cannot find Haru there, not in their apartment and not on the school bus. The movie then fast forwards by a month where Yan-woo decides to shift from her apartment and starts packing her belongings. While she's at it, she comes across an old photo book and starts going through it. She soon finds a photo of herself and her mother, and as she opens it, she also recognizes her father. Since Yan-woo has never seen her father before, she is surprised. What's more unexpected is that her father resembles Mr. Kim identically. Yan-woo decides to travel to New Zealand as a result of the revelation because it is the country where her father passed away. The following day, Yan-woo spots Sung-won, Haru, and Han-ul when she is looking for her seat inside the aircraft. This makes her emotional, but she decides to not reveal about her previous life. Instead, she asks the little boy about why they're going to New Zealand, and the latter replies that his mother passed away a month back, so they're going on a holiday to clear their minds. The movie ends as Yan-woo reveals that she's going to New Zealand to meet her father.